Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Saahil Murli Menghani. You're watching Checks and Balance. Today we are fact-checking Prime Minister Narendra Modi's statement in which he has said, and I quote, "In last 8 years I have not done any such work that will make people hang their head in shame." Listen into this statement and then we will take you closer to reality.
गलती से भी ऐसा कुछ नहीं होने दिया है, न ऐसा कुछ किया है जिसके कारण आपको या देश के किसी नागरिक को अपना सर झुकाना पड़े.
First of all, what is this logic? Why should people's head hang in shame? Prime Minister, if you did something wrong, then you should hang your head in shame, right? What is this practice of passing the burden of morality and accountability always on the people? Just a gentle reminder, people elected you Prime Minister, you didn't elect people of India. So no, if the Prime Minister did something wrong over the last 8 years, then the only head that needs to hang in shame is his own. And today in this episode, we are giving 10 instances where he as the Prime Minister of India should have hung his head in shame for various misdeeds by him and his government. Reason number 1 and the latest reason for PM Modi to hang his head in shame is what's happening with Kashmiri Pandits in Kashmir. The real Kashmir files is Modi's failure to help Kashmiri Pandits. There's another exodus of Kashmiri Pandits underway in Jammu and Kashmir, courtesy the string of killings. While the Modi government has been quick to accord great security to Kashmir Files Director Vivek Agnihotri, citing threats to his life, it has done next to nothing to put in safety mechanisms for Kashmiri Pandits to return. Even last year, under BJP's rule, Kashmiri Pandit employees fled from Kashmir after the targeted killings of minorities. So much for the claims that Prime Minister Modi and his government keep making about Kashmir and Kashmiri Pandits. In 8 years, between 2014 and 2022, PM Narendra Modi has not taken any direct concrete measures to rehabilitate Kashmiri Pandits. For a party that mentioned Kashmiri Pandit rehabilitation as its top agenda in the 2014 manifesto to have been unable to do much in 8 long years speaks volumes about PM Modi's lack of commitment to the cause of Kashmiri Pandits versus the narrative and he and his party men keep trying to build. Prime Minister Narendra Modi especially cannot be excused for not rehabilitating Kashmiri Pandits, because apart from his own government at the center, over the last 8 years, his party has been in charge of the state either through direct power or governor's rule for over 7 out of those 8 years. So no excuse of not having a double engine ki sarkar here. Out of 6,000 transit accommodation for 6,000 Kashmir's migrant employees approved in the year 2015, only 304 were constructed till December 2021 as per the Parliamentary Standing Committee report on Home Affairs. In March this year, the Modi government said on record in the Parliament that only 1,025 of those 6,000 units stand completed or substantially completed. This is how PM Modi has failed Kashmir, Kashmiri Pandits and Kashmiris. In reason number 2, let's get PM Modi fact-checked by the man he has a very high opinion of, Narendra Modi himself. Listen in to this statement that he gave in the year 2016, where he himself said, and I quote, "Head hangs in shame when there are atrocities committed against Dalits in India even today." Today, that is 2016, 2 years into his government, and since then, the situation has not got any better. Listen in.
समाज में हमारी विकृतियां आज भी हमारे दलित भाइयों के साथ कभी-कभी ऐसी घटनाएं सुनने को मिलती है, माथा शर्म से झुक जाता है.
And not just Dalits. Look what's being done to Muslims. Extremist elements are no more a fringe. They are unabashedly pushing their militant message into the mainstream. Through events like Dharam Sansads, they are stirring up communal hate against Muslims without any fear. PM Modi recently bragged about using drones to keep a tab on things. Surely this hasn't missed his attention. Yet silenced by him, government's top faces and by BJP's top brass has emboldened these extremist elements. In fact, junior members of the BJP have even attended such events which gave genocidal calls against Muslims. And those giving hate speeches have absolutely no fear of law simply because there's been reluctance from the police to take stringent action against them. Does this not make your head to hang in shame, Prime Minister? To make over 14% of India's population feel unwanted and scared for life. For anyone with conscience, the head shall hang in shame. So BJP might dump political lightweights like Nupur Sharma and Naveen Jindal in face of losing money from the Gulf countries and label them as fringe. But the reality is that the rot is deeper and Prime Minister Narendra Modi cannot be excused from the blame. By the way, this entire Nupur Sharma controversy is in itself a matter of great shame. In fact, each individual and every institution that doesn't fit the Hindu Rashtra narrative espoused by BJP's parent body, the RSS, has been vilified. Even Mahatma Gandhi hasn't been spared. BJP's member of parliament from Bhopal, terror-accused Sadhvi Pragya, called Mahatma Gandhi's murderer, Nathuram Godse, a Deshbhakt in the middle of 2019 general elections. And fearing electoral losses, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had this to say on that. Listen in.
मैं अपने मन से माफ नहीं कर पाऊंगा, मन से माफ नहीं कर पाऊंगा।
बड़ा बात आप कह रहे हैं कि आप मन से माफ नहीं कर
मन
पाए।
से माफ नहीं कर पाऊंगा।
तो दिल से माफ नहीं कर पाए पर शर्म से सर भी नहीं झुका. Not even for Mahatma Gandhi, the man whose name Prime Minister Narendra Modi has milled for political benefits in India and grand speeches on foreign land. Even after PM Modi's dil se maaf nahi kar paunga remark, Sadhvi Pragya has on at least 2 occasions called Godse a Deshbhakt, yet she continues to be in the BJP. Not enough to make your head hang in shame, Prime Minister. Not even when the same member of parliament has gone on to openly demonize Muslims. And not even when she vilified a rape victim.
उन्होंने किसी के महिला के साथ सहकर्मी के साथ ये लोभ दे करके कि हम तुम्हारी अनुकंपा नियुक्ति करवा देंगे, हम तुम्हारा सर्विस लगवा देंगे और उनका शोषण किया. कहीं ना कहीं उस महिला की भी गलती है. अगर किसी ने लोभ दिया है, लालच दिया है और लोभ और लालच में आकर के आपने खुद को उसको समर्पित कर दिया, 1 साल 1.5 साल हो गया और फिर आप उसकी शिकायत करोगे, मुझे लगता है वो गलत है. पुरुष होने का दंड किसी को नहीं मिलना चाहिए.
That's beyond epic shamelessness for anyone with little conscience. This calls for hanging head in shame. What about you, Prime Minister? Third reason why PM Modi must hang his head in shame is economy. Where does one even begin with and where does one end? From haphazard implementation of GST to the worst wholesale inflation in 30 years to massive unemployment to Modi government now running one of the largest fiscal deficit in India's history and dwindling foreign exchange reserves, India's economy, to put it mildly, is in a bad shape. Poverty so bad that it had to be covered with a wall when US President Donald Trump visited Gujarat in 2020 and now with white sheets when UK's Prime Minister visited Gujarat last month. Dear Prime Minister, is this not enough to make your head hang in shame? Your home state, huh? The Gujarat model that got you elected as India's Prime Minister, no? Foreign portfolio investors have withdrawn their investments in droves. Foreign portfolio investors dumped Indian shares worth record-breaking 1.4 lakh crore rupees in the financial year 2021-2022, making it the worst exodus by foreign portfolio investors from domestic equity market. Even amidst the global recession of 2008-9, only 1/3 of that amount, that is just 47,000 crores, were withdrawn by foreign portfolio investors. Surely you need to be held accountable for this dismal economic performance, Prime Minister, because to quote the favorite catchphrase of your supporters, if not Modi, then who? And how can we forget Notbandi, the deadly demonetization? That's reason number 4 why PM Modi needs to hang his head in shame. There were reports after reports of people dying in queues waiting to take out their hard-earned money. While citizens of India were going through a harrowing time, this is how the Prime Minister mocked we the citizens.
घर में शादी है, पैसे नहीं है। माँ बीमार है, 1000 की नोटों का थप्पा है, लेकिन मुश्किल है।
Wow, Modi ji, wow. Demonetization ravaged India's economy. Take a look at India's GDP chart. Demonetization's impact is clearly visible in India's GDP numbers. From 8.3 in 2016, it fell to 6.8 in 2017, then further down to 6.5 in 2018, and a dismal 4% in 2019-20, worst in 11 years. Since 2008, when India was hit by the global financial crisis. In fact, as per Modi government's own jobs data, unemployment in India hit a 45-year high of 6.1% in 2017-18. Point to be highlighted, these devastating economic health parameters are from the pre-pandemic years. In fact, unemployment rate continues to be 6% till at least 2021 as per data from the World Bank. Are these statistics not enough to make your head hang in shame, Prime Minister? If not, here's a glaring example of how your demonetization not just butchered India's economy, but even failed to achieve any of your stated objectives of 1. Cracking down on fake currency notes, and 2. Of unearthing black money. As per RBI's annual report, last year witnessed a massive rise of 54% in fake 2000 rupee currency notes and a gigantic 101% rise in fake 500 rupee currency notes. Not just that, as per RBI's data, almost the entire chunk of money, more than 99%, that was invalidated by Modi's Notebandi move, came back into the banking system. Remember the government had originally expected that 3 to 4 lakh crore rupees of black money would get cleaned from the banking system due to Notebandi. But if almost all of the money came back, then it clearly suggests that demonetization was a monumental failure in unearthing black money in the system. Khaya piya kuch nahi, glass toda 12 आना. In fact, लाखों करोड़ों का. Reason number 5 why Prime Minister Modi must hang his head in shame is due to the way in which he has handled COVID. In the most unscientific manner, PM Modi made the country ban utensils and light diyas to fight off an infectious disease spread by respiratory droplets. Forget conscience. If you're a woman or a man with even an iota of scientific mindset, your head must have hung in shame. When millions walked barefoot without food and water, died of hunger, got crushed under a moving train and killed in road accidents, all thanks to your unplanned lockdown, your head should have hung in shame, Prime Minister. If instead of dramatizing the primetime 8 p.m. announcement, had you taken states into confidence, given people a window to arrange logistics, some advance notice, imagine how many lives could have been saved. Was it not a moment to hang head in shame when in India's second devastating COVID wave, dead bodies were floating in the river, when people were gasping for oxygen, when they were running from pillar to post for basic hospital beds? If instead of declaring a premature victory against COVID, Modi government had done preparations, then things could have been less disastrous. But then of course, the whole government machinery right from the beginning of 2021 was busy in West Bengal elections. And the Prime Minister no less was caught on record bragging about the massive gathering of people at his rallies even as hospitalizations soared in the April of 2021.
मैं जहां देख सकता हूं मुझे लोग ही लोग दिखते हैं, बाकी कुछ दिखता ही नहीं है.
Heads idly must have rolled in your government for that, but at the very least, they should have hung in shame. WHO's report says 47 lakh more Indians died of COVID than Modi government's official figures. The chief scientist of WHO's technical advisory group, Jonathan Wakefield, told me that to delay publication of that report by many months, arguments put forth by Modi government in meetings with WHO's global scientists were so unscientific that global scientists felt frustrated. That's a matter of global embarrassment. That's how the global scientific community views the Indian government. Does that not call for hanging your head in shame, Prime Minister? Reason number 6 is the subject which Modi government pretends to have a monopoly on: national security. How did PM's head not hang in shame when Pathankot air-based terror attack happened and he allowed Pakistan's ISI to visit and survey the very same airbase? When China killed 20 Indian soldiers and intruded into our territory, but the Prime Minister couldn't even muster courage to take China's name. Remember the infamous "ना वहां कोई हमारी सीमा में घुस आया है और ना ही कोई घुसा हुआ है." In fact, the first bit of this statement, that no one intruded into our territory, contradicted the stand India took just 2 days before PM Modi made that statement. This press release from Ministry of External Affairs website clearly mentions that the Chinese side sought to erect a structure on India's side of line of actual control. In fact, PM Modi's statement, in a way, to quote former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, vindicated Chinese position. From going to Nawaz Sharif's celebrations in Lahore uninvited, to inviting ISI to survey India's airbase, to coming across as someone afraid to even name China, all of these failures and goof-ups vis-a-vis India's national security, not enough to make your head hang in shame, Prime Minister? Reason number 7 why you need to hang your head in shame, Prime Minister: farmers' protest. The farm bills that were intended to completely change the way farming is done in India were bulldozed by muting the live telecast of Rajya Sabha TV when opposition leaders were protesting against the bills, and then passed through a dubious voice vote instead of voting by division as the standard mechanism is. Dear Prime Minister, is this not a matter of great shame for you and your party to do this in Temple of Democracy, the Indian Parliament? As per farmers' unions, close to 700 farmers died while protesting for over a year. PM Modi did exactly what they wanted, but after making them wait for 1 whole year, after vilifying them for 1 whole year, and after making them beg and cry in the scorching heat and in the biting cold, if all of this agony caused to farmers wasn't enough, then take a look at this video which came last month. Accused of running over protesting farmers, in which 4 were killed, Ashish Mishra is seen here proudly twirling his moustache while being taken to the court. He knew cameras were rolling and recording him. He did so while looking at those cameras, rubbing salt into the wounds of victims, farmers. Do you know where that confidence comes in from, Prime Minister? Because you, Prime Minister, have still not sacked his father, Ajay Mishra Teni, from your union cabinet. If all of this is nothing to be ashamed of, then are there feathers in your cap, Prime Minister? Or shall we say feathers in your crown? Presenting now the reason number 8, the extremely problematic speeches by Modi as India's Prime Minister. Instead of acting as a bridge between Hindus and Muslims, instead of giving a healing touch, PM Modi has looked the other way. Listen to this remark by the Prime Minister.
अगर कब्रिस्तान बनता है तो गांव में स्मशान भी बनना चाहिए.
Or this remark by Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
ये आग लगाने वाले कौन हैं? वो उनके कपड़ों से ही पता चल जाता है.
Such communally charged remarks and dog whistles by a sitting Prime Minister lower the dignity of his office. What's the difference then between him and the Britishers, who too used to use divide and rule policy? That's pretty ordinary, Prime Minister. The extraordinary thing would have been to take all communities in India together Ninth reason why PM Modi needs to hang his head in shame is global rankings. No matter which credible global index or ranking you look at, India's position has worsened under 8 years of Modi government. India has slipped to 53rd position in the latest democracy index. India ranks 101 out of 116 in the World Hunger Index. India ranks 136 out of 150 in the World Happiness Index. The World Inequality Report in 2022 called India a very unequal country. The World Press Freedom Index has ranked India at number 150. Global Gender Gap Index has ranked India at 140 out of 156 countries. PM Modi, thanks to you, India is grabbing global headlines for wrong reasons. And no matter how much you downplay them, the reality is they do matter. 10th, last, but by no way the least reason why PM Modi needs to hang his head in shame. And that reason is the environment of fear that PM Modi has meticulously nurtured. No government in India has criminalized dissent like Modi has, and dissent is critical to survival of a democracy. Draconian laws like sedition and UAPA have been liberally used against students, journalists and minorities. Pegasus, Snoopgate and creation of Godi media are prime examples of this state of fear built by PM Modi. No one in Godi media can dare to question or expose Modi government. All that the media is fed with are issues like hijab, beef, mandir masjid, so that Godi media doesn't talk about LPG, petrol, economy, jobs, foreign policy blunders, farmers, COVID handling, essentially everything that we have covered in this episode. Also, there has not been a single press conference by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, a practice that is fundamental in each functional democracy worldwide, except when PM Modi is visiting that democratic country, because he believes in gagging even foreign media on foreign soil. That's what happened in Germany's Berlin, which Modi visited last month. Take a look at this tweet by Germany's top editor. It says, Modi and Germany's Chancellor will take zero questions at the press meet at the insistence of Indian side. इतनी unaccountability by the Prime Minister of world's largest democracy? औरों को भी डर में रखते हैं, खुद भी डर में रहते हैं. This environment of fear is a creation of PM Modi himself, and that is why Prime Minister, you should also hang your head in shame because of your own creation of this state of fear. By the way, what's wrong with hanging head in shame? To be ashamed, to have some shame shows one has a conscience. Perhaps one of the biggest reasons for all to be ashamed of is how the Modi government has over the last 8 years numbed this country to shame, numbed India to shame. We don't feel ashamed when bodies float in rivers. We don't feel ashamed when PM Modi mocks the misery of demonetization's victims. Numb to the extent that elderly farmers dying in cold and yet being mocked by the ruling regime didn't shame us. Numb to the extent that daily state-backed demonization of Muslims don't shame us. Godi media crossing all limits of chatukarita and doing character assassination of people doesn't shame us. Prime Minister Narendra Modi making dog whistles doesn't shame us. Sadly, supported by the ruling regime's ecosystem and abated by PM's silence, a section feels no shame anymore in brutally oppressing our minorities on a daily basis. Rather, they take pride in it. It is indeed shameful how the Prime Minister has numbed India to shame. Elders in Indian families usually say that cat shuts its eyes while drinking milk and think that nobody is watching it. That fits aptly to describe PM Modi's latest misleading claim that he has given no reason to India for our heads to hang in shame. Open your eyes, Prime Minister. We have given you 10. People, if you found our research interesting, if you found it worthy, if you found this presentation worthy of sharing, then please do share on your social media platforms, on Instagram, on WhatsApp, on Facebook, on Twitter, Telegram, and also as stories and status messages, and help us in containing the massive disinformation campaign. I'll be back soon with another fact check in Checks and Balance. Till then, thanks so much for watching.
To receive instant updates on all videos from The Wire, click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon. Pay to support independent journalism. Click the link in the description and choose the amount you want to pay.